I'm liquid water with the power to transform. Ice shattering, still you sweat on the dance floor. I'm palm pushing, opening doors and platforms, handsaw. I pull the last straw, it's that raw. Even a white lie could come from black force. I rap like Tarek Trotter, mix with mass force.
And I think at the minute we've been in a bit of limbo in terms of the podcast, which way to go forward with it and which way we have been going with it. So we've came up with a few suggestions, whether we want to change the name, why do we want to change the name, like, so many questions are floating around in our heads, aren't there right now, Shaq?
Yeah, a lot of questions, mate. Many questions. What could we change? Are we going to change the name?
I don't think, ultimately, we may not, but we may. We're in a little bit of indecision, like I said, a little bit of limbo. We just want to make this as relatable as possible, especially for the people especially for people who live in our area. Predominantly because I feel like we've got a lot to celebrate where we live, but it's not celebrated at all. And there's a lot of goods and there's a lot of bads to the area, and we want to try and celebrate the successes and also the failures of where we live.
Yeah.
And try and give people a platform just to get out there and speak openly about what it is they are doing in life, or who they are as a person, or what they want to do in life. And yeah, let's just celebrate everything that our area has to offer.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think our region in particular is one that really hasn't really been that diverse in terms of culture, compared to the other regions.
No, we aren't, and we aren't diverse.
There is, but it's just not as exposed as much, and it's and there's a lot we people can do to help, and we can contribute to that as well.
There's things that I love seeing about when I go to different places, in particular cities like London or Manchester or even Leeds. I feel like when you go to different places, you do see a lot of different types of cultures, different upbringings, different ways of life, like just different people in general. Whereas where we live, there's just a less. It's not as wide, is it? It's not as varied. Like people are very linear. Like the route that people take in life is very straightforward.
A bit more traditional.
Yeah, a bit more traditional. And that's the one thing that I do love seeing when I go to other cities, is just the fact that you do see different ways of living. Like you realise that going to work Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, is not the way of the world. It's just the way of our upbringings, and it's just the way that we are taught to live. Yeah. And I think the more that you get outside of where we live, and you do see different cultures and upbringings, different worldviews, you just end up with a broader perspective on life, and you actually understand what it is that you might want to do in your spare time. Like you might be able to open up your eyes to few different possibilities.
Yeah, there's not many examples of people doing it from where we're from, is there?
No.
That's like a big thing that becomes a problem. Like we just don't see it firsthand. Where in other cities there's just bigger populations and there's just different opportunities and there's people doing different things. So it just inspires more people because they see it for themselves. So I mean that's where it's up here. It's about just giving those people exposure that are doing things that are just different to the norm. You know, people that are pursuing different goals and dreams and doing things for themselves. Like it's just we need to embrace people like that and make them known and
celebrate them.
Yeah, just change the culture around it. Like just show them more support.
Give them a platform. We want to celebrate everybody's successes and similarly failures, because I do believe that the failures are what define you in life, and what you do from those failures really do define who you are as an individual and how you can pick yourself up and dust yourself off when everything goes wrong.
Yeah. So
we want to celebrate that as well. We want to celebrate everything that this area has to offer, and there's some incredibly unique people that are very close to us, and that's who we should be speaking to. That's who should be joining us on the podcast, and we should be looking to these types of people to understand their opinions as well, to also broaden our own.
Yeah, definitely. It's just there's a lot of interesting people around us, and it's just good. It's good to get that insight, just learn different people's experiences. It's just something that we don't really have much of in these areas. It's not something that's common. Even this podcast, it's a struggle to get out there to many people, because there's there's not that many people that are into it or are aware of things like this. Even though it's such a popular thing around the world, it's just we're just quite behind in terms of culture and it's just we want people around us to progress, and we want to progress ultimately as well. And it's just like just creating that culture, creating that community of people that all want to just that doing things that are out of
celebrate
the
each
box.
other's successes.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to know there's different people out there that are doing different things.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't have the conversations you want with people because there's nothing wrong with this, by the way, but they're happy doing they're just their jobs.
Yeah, which I
Where
understand,
other people
yeah.
might be pursuing something different, like whether it's in athletics, whether it's in the arts, and the
Whether
list
it's
goes
within
on.
writing music.
Yeah, the list goes on, doesn't it? And it's just good to know there's a community of people out there in the Northeast that are all just doing something different and just laying down the foundations for the future generations. Like I know what I do at the moment, rap music, in the Northeast there's not really anyone that's been successful doing it beforehand, not to a major level. And it's just laying those foundations down for you never know who's listening. Like there could be a kid out there that's going to be the next big thing, and it's all because we're laying the foundations down for them now. And it's just about being selfless in those things as well. And there's so many pioneers out there in the Northeast doing their thing, and it's just good to get their insight sometimes.
Yeah, and I'd like to believe that what we're doing right now is building up a platform for people to express what it is they are doing. So if we build this up from the bottom to the top, we will hopefully get people alongside us eventually who want to come onto this podcast to talk about what it is they're doing, so they can use this as a platform to celebrate their own success, and we can celebrate it with them and just get like-minded people who are driven to come and speak about their own experiences.
Yeah, I know. And it just inspires and motivates people. And at the moment, there's just so much awareness on mental health. Like it's everywhere. You can't really escape it. And we were having interesting conversations earlier. It's like for some people who might be going through stuff like that, when it's everywhere, it might even make you closed off even more.
Yeah.
It might just make you want to hide even more because it's everywhere you look. So you might just keep it to yourself even more because it's hard to speak out sometimes. So it's a hard balance, but at the same time with podcasts and things like this, you can listen to it on your own. It's not just in your face, so it inspires and motivates a lot of people that there's people out there going through similar things. Like you're not on there on your own struggling, yeah, like everyone's going through their own version of a struggle.
Yeah, we were saying this earlier when we were not that, but we were saying
Yeah, it's just
to do with it being everywhere. I feel like that could potentially make it worse because the people who are struggling with genuine issues and genuine problems are turning on the news every day, or opening the newspaper every day, or opening on social media every single day, and they're always reminded to do with something around mental health, and now they might have put it to the back of their mind for that moment in time, but then as soon as they see the title mental health, they instantly think about their own problems. So they're always getting reminded of what their own problems are. Now I know we're only trying to help when we try and highlight these issues, but we are highlighting the issues to the people with issues as well.
Yeah, it's just there's so many different factors like just going into like the rise of mental health issues and suicide.
Yeah, it's on the rise.
Especially in our region, man. It's just everywhere, and we've all been affected by it. Like most of us now have friends that have sadly like taken their own life and that, and it's just like it's hard.
What is it? Why are they doing this? I mean, we'll never know the answer to that question, but I mean, I have my own theories as to why it's happening more so in our area than anywhere else. And I know it was a statistic before. I don't know whether it's accurate now that Middlesbrough is twice as high as anywhere else in the country for suicide.
Yeah,
twice as high as anywhere else in the country for suicide.
Yeah, just a lack of opportunity. I mean, it can boil down to like going back to like, I mean, like talking about the system. It can boil down to that really because there's not enough in place to support people, and I don't mean in terms of therapy. I mean it could just be in just jobs and finances, and people are struggling where we live. They're struggling with a lot of things, and then it just goes down a dark path from there.
There are very few opportunities where we live. When I was doing my job, but then I had to apply to do my job through the company that then I work for. When that went live and when that got put on the internet for people to apply, and this is just a simple job, by the way. Guess how many people apply for that job?
How many?
700.
Wow.
700 people applying for that one job. Now, if you roll back the clock 10, 20 years, there wouldn't have been 700 people applying for that job because there was more jobs available to the common man. There were more jobs available to the everyday man and woman. So I feel like right now, the opportunities are so few and far between that everybody's going for the same small ones that do come up and that do arise. And when they don't get them, there's another stab in the heart for them almost, because it's like another failed chance for them where they just don't know where else to turn. And in an area where we live, where there's so few opportunities, and you got to take each one that comes your way when the ones that come their way still aren't working out for them. They're just losing direction. And when you lose direction, you lose all sense of purpose of being here. And then that goes wrong, and then something else goes wrong, maybe financially, or something else goes wrong in a relationship. And it's like one thing after the next, and it's a downward spiral, and they have nowhere else to turn.
Yeah, that's it, innit? And I think one thing we all have in common is that we all want to feel a sense of security. We're all searching for that security.
It's like it's a principle. It's the basic of life. Just getting security, whether it's financial, whether it's a home, or whether it is just the security of a relationship. Sometimes it's the very fundamentals of life right there. Just security.
Yeah, and it can really mess with a person when that gets stripped away from them, or they can't obtain it. And it could be money. It could be anything. It could be anything. It could be a loss of a family member. It could be something like bereavement. Yeah, just losing that security. It could be a person. It could be an object. It could be anything.
Could be a dog.
But whatever it is that provides you that security, when you lose it or you can't get it, it can really mess with a person. And then you look for ways to escape your reality. And this is where it starts getting dark. You're looking for different ways to escape. It could lead on to drugs. It could lead up to gambling. It could lead up to just unhealthy habits. Yeah,
patterns of life.
And then before you know it, you just don't really do anything to change. You can't take action. Sometimes when you're down, you kind of just want to fester in the moment and feel sorry for yourself.
And I was saying this the other day. I had a day where I was just down, and I can't really. I do understand why. I do understand the basics and the principles of why I was down just the other day. But sometimes, I really didn't want to seek out and ask anybody a question or just to speak to anybody. All I wanted to do was fester in my own filth.
Yeah.
Just sit there and stew in my own misery. And no matter what I wanted to do that day, I had to just completely write it off and just be like, right, that is it. Today I'm doing absolutely nothing. And then I was really guilty on top of myself for that because I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't being proactive. I wasn't getting shit done that I needed to get done.
Yeah.
So then it's like a downward spiral. But I mean, I'm fortunate enough to know that I understand how to get myself out of those situations. But there's a lot of people who don't know how to get themselves out of that situation. And a downward spiral goes on for a week, a month, and then potentially years.
And that's a key point. It's like everyone's going through a struggle. It's just some people, like say, you might go through that once a month, once a week, or some people might go through that every day, and eventually it takes something, you go to a point of no return where it takes something drastic to get you back to the person that you need to be to get through life.
Sometimes it's about hitting rock bottom.
So,
unfortunately,
that's it.
It really is.
Some people never come back from it.
Yeah,
it's averages, isn't it? It could be related to anything, but like some people make it back from rock bottom better and stronger.
Yeah.
Some people just survive it, and some people don't.
Yeah.
And it's just it takes something drastic sometimes to come back from that place of no return. And some people never find that security, or say like you're trying to quit something like an addiction, for instance. Sometimes it's luck. If you can just stay out that dark place for enough days, you might come to realise that there's something better out there for you, or there's something else that occupies you.
You're not a big believer in luck, though.
I think luck is a genuine component of life.
I think it's a very small component of life.
But it's a factor. It happens. Like luck is just something that happens. It's not something that you should base your life around.
Yeah.
But, like luck is a genuine component of life. Like you will get lucky. Like you could just miss getting hit by a car. You could be in the right place at the right time. Obviously, there's obviously different factors that play into it, but there is always a component of luck in everything.
I think predominantly, though, you do make your own luck.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think you have the choice in your life to put the effort.
You have to get to that situation.
You have to get yourself into that situation where you can actually then fall on
and maybe
good
get
luck.
lucky. Yeah. It's absolutely like you can't base it around luck.
No,
but it's a component of life. Like you could just, you know what I mean. There's different ways luck can factor in your life.
Exactly, but also I believe that bad luck can also be worked into your advantage, into your favour.
Yeah, because you can
if
learn
you
from
learn
it.
from it.
Yeah,
If you
absolutely.
But the problem is, like you're saying there, everybody deals with things completely different, and
Yeah.
everybody deals with failures or wrongdoings in life in a different way to what the other person does. So where I'm saying, sometimes it takes rock bottom to change or to become a different person in life. Unfortunately, for some people to hit rock bottom, that is it. They're going to take their own life instead of doing something about it because they don't know their way out. They don't realise that it's up to them to take control of their own life and take responsibility and then predominantly change from that.
Yeah, it's hard because what about if everything that you live for is taken away from you and you just don't want anything else? Like, that's a difficult place to be. I mean, life in itself, I mean, they say a lot of intelligent people are the most depressed people, don't they?
Yeah.
Because you realise that life's a big contradiction.
The more you start to
does it really mean much? I mean, at the end of the day, it's whatever you love that means something right at the end of it. Like, does this life really have that much of a meaning? Who knows?
Who knows? But I tell you what, life is special because when you think of it, I mean, we are so lucky and fortunate to be here right now and be the people that we are right now. Like that, we're so incredibly lucky. Like
To get to
I can't
experience it.
Yeah, to get to experience it, and then also to actually experience it in the way that we do. Like we have emotions, we have feelings, we have thoughts, we have all this stuff going on inside of us.
Absolutely.
It's magical. It's amazing.
It is.
What are the chances that we are here right now?
I
It's
think-
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing.
Life is a spectacular thing, and you can make it
It's
each and every
structure,
day.
isn't it? Mm-hmm. It's the structure that breaks people down. Like what life, life shouldn't demand. Like the society demands so much from you. It demands just so much from a person.
Life's
and
hard.
It breaks them down.
Yeah.
Breaks us down. Breaks us all down. Like we have to live in a routine. Many of us live in routines that we don't want to live in. Or what about something like bad happens to you and you just can't cope any longer? Like them the dark places, and then you don't have anywhere to turn to, and maybe you're just not aware that there's people that have been through it too, or you don't realise there's a way out.
More than likely that's close to you as well. One of the big reasons why we're talking about it is because of the situation of our area and the fact that people are really struggling around here.
Yeah.
Genuinely, there's a lot of struggles that are going on.
They're everywhere.
in our
People
area
struggle
today.
everywhere, but
Yeah.
we can see it directly around us. It's such like, it's turning to be like, it's scary. It's like almost like an epidemic right now. Like it's happening everywhere around us. It's hard to be a part of, and it's hard to witness, and it's hard to know that these people are what they're going through. You know what I mean? To get to this point where it ends up with them not being.
And you
here
see
anymore.
these statuses on Facebook and stuff all the time saying like, just come to me and talk. Like I'm reaching out to anybody right now who might be struggling, come and talk to me. But it's not that simple.
It's not, no.
It's really not that simple, and I absolutely appreciate everybody's help that does stuff like this, and I would be one of the
It's
people
amazing.
who would offer my help also. But I understand that anybody who is listening right now, like they might not want to talk, like that might be the last thing that they want to do. But genuinely, when you do talk, it does make things
Yeah, we do talk. Well,
a lot easier.
Will it fix the problems? No, like to accept certain things, like it's trauma, like it's different types of trauma that ultimately cause these things to happen. And it's about, you might not ever be able to, you're never going to really heal, like fully heal from it to a certain extent. Like you have to heal, but you learn how to deal with it and cope with it, and you learn that life moves on, and there's different things that you can live for.
Yeah.
And there's different ways you can make other people happy.
I read a really good book called Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and he created a therapy called logotherapy, where it's basically saying that you can find meaning and purpose in anything, because he survived, it wasn't Auschwitz, but he survived the concentration camps back in World War II. And he was saying that if you can find a purpose and a meaning to live a life when you're in such despair in a concentration camp, then you can find a meaning and a purpose for life no matter where you are, no matter how bad your despair is in life. And it's up to you to find that meaning. It's up to you to find something to cling on to when you do really hit rock bottom. Yeah. Which I understand, mate, because if he could find a purpose and a meaning to keep going, to keep waking up every single day when millions and millions of people are getting absolutely slaughtered that was an epidemic.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? There's different things that can put you in that spot, but you just always got to remember, like, there's so much we haven't experienced, and until you try and experience, you never know how you'd feel. Like, you never know what could change. Like, it's about finding that purpose, as you say. Find that purpose to live.
Ask yourself, what is the thing that you love to do? And that could just be your purpose. That could be your drive to get out of bed each and every day, to know that you got something to look forward to all the time. Without a real goal or direction in life, I've said it before, but I love this term, you're just like a leaf blowing around in the wind. And if you don't have your own goals and your own dreams and your own desires, you're going to be following somebody else's goals, dreams and desires, because you're going to be living for them and not for you. And that's why I feel like it's so important to find your own purpose and your own calling and your own meaning, because then it gives you a much deeper sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm. I absolutely agree. And it sounds easier than it is to do.
Yeah.
Because you have to get yourself out the rut. You have to break those cycles. You need to have enough good days, just enough good days to get yourself out of that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, literally, it's so easy to slip back in that dark place where if you can spend the majority of your time out of it, then you're onto a good one. It's harder than it sounds, way harder than it sounds, but it's possible. And it's just about, like, finding that will, finding that determination to do it, finding that purpose and drive, and giving it your all in something and no longer holding back.
Yeah.
Like, if you want something, you have to act on it now.
And you can make something out of nothing. So we are rowing across the North Atlantic next year. Now, that all came from a thought. That came from an idea. We just sat down together as a group of friends, and we were just like, right, what can we do and how can we do it?
Yeah.
And that's it. We started with a thought, with an idea. We then created a plan. We then started firing emails out. And now I'm in a position where we own a boat. We got the plan sorted. Everything's going through. This all came from a thought and from an idea. And absolutely anybody on this planet right now had the capability to do what we have done and to put themselves into the position that we're in right now. It's up to you to really go and make your dreams happen. You can do it.
Yeah, it's just like, that's it, isn't it? You have to take some sort of action.
Yeah.
Even if you can't do what you want to do, you have to do something just do something towards it. Like, take that imperfect action, isn't it? Rather than doing nothing at all and ending up being a big procrastination.
Yeah, and saying, oh, I'd love to be able to do this, or I wish I could do that. Well, do something about it.
Yeah, you have to do something. Like, even if you just link it into something simple, like if you have an exercise, just do a sit up, do 5, do a push up. You know, like, just make a start.
Yeah.
Like, it's all about making a start,
Yeah.
and then keeping your mind ticking over.
Stop giving yourself excuses.
Yeah, it's so easy to do, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
so easy to form an excuse. Shaq, I wanted to go for a run before I came round here, and then at about 2 o'clock, it was absolutely tanking down at work. And I was looking out my window, I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm going for a run when I finish work, so I'll be going round Shaq's a bit earlier. And then I turned around to myself, I was like, why am I always giving myself the excuse? It's as though, like, there's always two people who live inside me.
Yeah.
And there's always the devil, and there's always the
Yeah.
angel, there's always the good, and there's always the bad. And it's up to me which voice that I listen to. It's up to me, like, which direction and which route that I take. And then at that moment in time, I'd definitely chosen the bad option. I'd chosen not to listen to the good side, not to listen to the beneficial side of what I wanted to do. And I was like, I'd quit. And then that lazy side of me took over. And then took a little bit of a battle, but then the next thing I was out running, and I'd overcome that laziness, I'd overcome that battle with your mind, where every single day, mate, I'm just making excuses up to not get stuff done. Every single day. It's like, even though whenever I get stuff done, I feel much better about myself.
You
to
do,
be proactive, I feel better in myself. Much better.
Yeah, sometimes it's just about just doing it. Just switching off all the emotions behind it. If you know it's sometimes your gut just tells you, just listen to that gut feeling, telling you that you need to do it. There's a reason that it's popping up in your head that you need to do something, just do it.
Yeah.
Just absolutely go for it. If it's positive and it benefits you, you need to just go for it. Don't sit there and doubt it, because like that's
Live in the now.
That's the beginning of your anxiety anyway, isn't it? You'll be sat there festering on the future, and that'll give you so much anxiety.
And
if you're stuck in the
purpose?
past, if you're stuck in the past, it's not that. It's time now to just live in the present. Live in the present and think of what you can do now. Do now, because you're going to look back on these moments. Like, it happens every year. You think, oh, I'm going to start something. And then next thing you know, it's the year after. And you haven't done it. And you think, imagine if I'd done that. I'd have been a year into it now. Imagine it's time.
Finished?
Yeah, it's time to stop that. Even if just start it, you know what, write it down. You need to be serious about it. Don't give yourself any excuses not to do it, because we're so good at doing that as humans.
Yeah.
Like, we'll find a way to justify it, and we'll lie to ourselves to the point where we don't even realise we're lying to ourselves, because we'll justify it and forget about it in our heads. Write it down. Give yourself no excuse not to do it.
Yeah. Get yourself a diary. Plan out, not meticulously, but just plan out your week. So like Monday I'm going to do this. Tuesday I'm going to do this. You don't need to write down you don't need to write down the ins and outs of a fart, do you? But you just need to say like the big things that you want to achieve that day. Like today I wanted to achieve a run. So I wrote that down. Today I wanted to achieve a podcast. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
And those things are going to get followed through. I'm going to pursue them because I've wrote them down.
Yeah.
It does something internally to your own
Does.
mental capacity. When you write stuff down, it just clicks.
Yeah.
It just clicks.
There's no time for failure. Especially if you want to make it in something or make something out of yourself. There's just no time for failure. You just got to give yourself no excuses and just go for it.
Is there anything you think you can do productively in your own life to stop yourself coming up with those excuses or overcoming that battle? Is there anything that you feel personally like you can do?
You have to hold yourself accountable. You need to stop. We need to stop just blaming other things or other people for things and hold ourselves accountable for the things that are in our
Control,
reach, in our
grasp.
control, things that we can actually do. We need to just grasp them.
Yeah. Do you think fear could be potentially holding a lot of people back? Like the fear, how can I really link this to training and what I've just done just to keep it on the topic? Maybe it is the fear of just feeling that pain when I'm out running, because I know that it's painful when I go running. It's definitely painful because I'm going to be pushing myself physically. So maybe there's a little bit of fear inside of me that doesn't want to feel that uncomfort, that doesn't want to feel that discomfort, that doesn't want to feel myself pushing my body to the limit. Maybe there's a bit of fear that's holding me back there. Is it? So I'm trying to link this fear and pain together and talk about that video that I sent you to do with Wim Hof in the guided breathing.
Yeah.
So my friend put me onto this unbelievable breathing technique that Wim Hof talks you through, and it's all to do with being able to hold your breath for 2 minutes, and he does it for 5 rounds, and he talks you through this breathing technique. And in this breathing technique, you take 30 repetitions in and out pretty quick, where you're taking full inhales but short exhales. And because of this, you're pumping oxygen around your body, you're pumping oxygen around your head, and you go lightheaded a little bit because of it as well. So then you go through these breathing techniques for 30 reps, and then you hold your breath for 2 minutes. But when you're holding your breath for 2 minutes, that's when you start coming up with that fear, with that fight or flight starts talking, your subconscious starts kicking in, and it's like, no, I need to breathe, I need to breathe to survive. But you don't need to breathe to survive because you've got enough oxygen pumped around your body already, so you are fine. And that's where I feel like you can overcome a lot of fear in your life, because that's where you're overcoming the battle with your own mind. Like the fear kicks in and you take control of that fear. And you're like, no, I'm not going to breathe right now because I'm in charge.
Yeah.
And I feel like techniques like this can really help progress you in life, because that's when you do start to control your own fear, control anxiety. Conditioning.
Yes, because that's it, innit? We build up these habits, and before you know it, you're conditioned with unhealthy habits. And it's about just completing things, just like we were saying just earlier, like completing tasks, whether it's small or little, just taking action and completing something, because you're going to start that conditioning process. Mm-hmm. You keep doing that every day. Before you know, it's part of your system, it's part of your routine. And that's it, isn't it? Drill good habits into yourself.
Habits.
And it's just about getting enough of those good days until it becomes a habit. You just got to pull yourself out of that darkness and keep plugging away at something new that benefits you.
Yeah. There's many different categories of life when you look at it, and I feel like there's 3 huge areas of life which you can take positive action towards every single day, and that's people. You can get the good people in your life more and more, and you can get rid of the negative people in your life as much as you possibly can. There's your attitude. So your attitude in certain situations, whether it's at work, whether it's with a certain person, whether it's with your family, you can change your attitude in each given situation. Yeah. And also, it's like what you just said there, it's your habits, your positive and negative habits in your life. Like which habits are really going to benefit you, which habits are really taking something away from your life. When you start to recognize these things in your life, you can start to strip away the negative and improve the positive. And that's where you're going to really start to make a difference and be more productive and be more rewarding to yourself and give yourself more opportunities because of the productivity.
Absolutely. And it's just getting into it and just making a start. It sounds easy, doesn't it? And it's hard, but it's just about just doing it, because if you haven't tried it yet, then you need to try it. Like, they've got no excuse. Like, you can't just sit, like, you can't be that person that doesn't try it, doesn't try and be the best version of themselves. Like, it's just not, it's not what you want to do, especially if you're going through some difficult, if you anxiety, depression, and all the rest. If you're going through it and you want to make a difference, then you need to start. You need to make a start. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard because there's so much going on in life, and life demands so much from you. It wants you to be all these things that are so close to perfect, and eventually it leads to you breaking down.
Perfection? Is perfection even possible? Because perfection is subjective.
Perfection demands so much from people. Like, perfection is sleepless nights. It's countless hours just put into your craft, and sometimes people don't understand the amount of energy and time and all the rest of it that goes into perfection. Like, perfection is a lot to demand of yourself. So I always say strive for excellence.
Yeah.
Strive for excellence, because perfection is just this it's like an imaginary thing that most of us will never achieve. So yeah, it's been a good podcast.
Yeah, I was trying to pull up a little picture that I'd taken out of a book to do with perfection, and I'm not quite finding it. It's from the book When Breath Becomes Air, and it's a brilliant book, and it talks about perfection in there, basically saying, like, you not to strive for don't expect perfection, but you can strive towards it. So don't beat yourself up for not getting perfection, but you can always aim for it. There you go. You can't ever reach perfection, but you can believe in an asymptote toward which you are ceaselessly striving. I can't even read it properly. Yeah.
You don't want to be perfect, though.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Excellent effort.
It was an excellent
effort. But yeah, man, that was interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting. Well, our area's got a lot to celebrate, whether it's fucking Roseberry Topping or whether it's Shaka's music. We've got a lot to celebrate. Let's keep celebrating it. Let's get people on board.
Yeah, and let's just help each other. Let's push each other, and if you see someone doing something different, motivate them, inspire them. Don't be sit there giving judgment, because these people are your friends. These people are your neighbours. These are people from your town. Let's be proud of them. Let's raise each other up.
Yeah.
It's about time for that.
Yeah.
I think we all need it.
Yeah. Amen. Amen, brother. Peace out.